What is happening? I have no idea what is going on in these markets. There's fear. There is greed. People are excited for Bitcoin. People are scared for Bitcoin. We, of course, have Joe Biden stepping down as the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. And this changes everything as we approach this election cycle. Today, guys, we're going to be diving not into what this means for Bitcoin, but how we're more than likely going to be seeing a $100,000, potentially $150,000 Bitcoin by election day this year. That is less than about 100 days until these new highs, guys. Welcome in, guys. It's good to see everybody. Happy morning. Of course, today's studio is brought to you by Arculus. We actually got new fanny packs if you actually zoom out to the large angle here.
Wait a minute.
Look at the new merch.
Am I going to
here.
rock this at Bitcoin Nashville? I will wear the hell out of this Bitcoin Nashville.
Self-custody? No, I got nothing.
I'm taking it home today.
You're taking it home today?
I'm taking it home today. Don't get mad at me.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, let's just say I got to break it in before I wear it in Nashville.
If you find Easy at the Bitcoin Nashville conference,
I got to cut a hole in it,
He's going to be pulling out cards.
I got to cut a hole in the back. Obviously, we know what I'm doing with it.
Well, markets are going absolutely wild. It is chaotic. We're back up to 60. Nope, we're down to 66,000. It was at almost 68,000 this morning. Down to $66,900 now, coming back below 67,000. This is completely normal.
Yeah,
we had a Bitcoin futures gap created not too long ago that we did just immediately fill today. So it does look like we have filled that gap, and that usually means we could see more upside now. Ethereum here, $3,450. Massive resistance at $3,500. But Solana, $178, 3% in the last 24 hours. And XRP, fam, XRP here, back over 60 cents here. 888 Vincenz, how you doing, man? We got Vintage, we got Crypto Fox, we got Johnny December, Crypto Bad Fox, French Toaster. And it actually sounds really good. I could use French toast right now. Sufficient enough. Bob from accounting and Jay Shelton, guys, welcome in. Yes, we're going to be breaking down the charts here. People are very, very excited for this presidential election now because, of course, you got three different presidential candidates. One is going to be RFK Jr., very pro-Bitcoin. Does he have a shot at winning that presidency? I don't necessarily know. It really seems like the Democratic Party does not want him to be the nominee, even though he did run as Democrat at first. Then you have Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Right, we're going to be diving into what that means for these markets today. And then the worst case scenario would be, of course, Kamala Harris, but I still actually don't believe she is going to be the candidate here for November. It's still too early to tell. So we'll be breaking down.
Interesting theory. A lot of people are saying, I'll go to Polymarket right now. The markets are mostly saying it will be her. If it's not going to be her, who would you say it is?
Well, what's holding me back is the fact that Obama still hasn't endorsed her. So I want to be, I would not be shocked if Michelle, even though she's been saying no, would be thrown in there.
Well, the markets have spoken. I pulled it up just now. 83% for Kamala. The number two, there are allegations that Obama's holding back to support his wife. I don't, that is a little bit of a stretch. I could see it happening though. That's only 8% right now. So hey, if you think it's Michelle,
who's next up right there?
That's 12-1 odds right there. Other than that is going to be others, including Whitmer. We also have Hillary Clinton and Gavin Newsom, RFK, Dean Phillips. They're going to weaken a Bernie's and then Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth, all below 1%. Yeah, no, they're leaving out quite a few, potential candidates there, from senator positions. But we won't really know. She did raise, I think, like $46 million in 24 hours. So it does seem like there is a pretty strong, development there. But of course, we'll keep you up to date, and we have a ton of information to break that down here today. But of course, looking at these charts, guys, in the last 24 hours, Celestia Tia here up 12%, $7.30. Dog with Hat now up to up 52%. Wow, in the last week here, up to $2.78. XRP is one of those top movers. Of course, eGold, Dogecoin, and Solana. But if you guys really want to know the top mover, it was actually Duke. Duke is up like over 40% in the last 24 hours.
Good
you got
job.
A bit of a bounce here. People starting to trade. It does look like we caught that bottom after this massive sell-off in the meme coin sector. Actually ran up over 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say that 40% looks like at one point it was at least double.
Yeah.
It's cooled down a little bit.
Cooled down just a little bit here. But this is off the announcement of our new tool. So we have, of course, a trading bot.
Right?
Yes. And actually, I'm going to show you guys this. This is absolutely cracked.
Now, is Optimus the robot from Tesla? Are they going to be able to use this bot?
Yeah, it actually rolls out too.
Okay.
Hey, there we go. Look at me using references here. But Shubaduki, guys, if you guys haven't checked out the new bot, of course, there's a trading bot for Solana and Ethereum, but the new tool is for really just everybody out there. You guys ever hear of like a new token launching from your favorite creator or, an influencer or a celebrity? You know what their ticker is going to be. And you're like, how do people snipe that? Well, we made sniping very, very easy. So it's a numbers game, right? If you know For example, here, a very famous one that just launched was Sage. It did like a 30 million market cap. This tool would have allowed you put in the ticker SAGE and allocate 10 SOL to that. And then, actually snipe every single.
Yeah, get in on those first blocks, those first like 10-second blocks.
So we call it Smart Snipe, and that is where the move came from. Very, very simple to use. It's a numbers game, again, high risk, but that is a very, very needed tool in the ecosystem out here for us. But actually, let's not even get to Biden just yet. Okay, let's not get to Biden just yet. I want to go over the top losers today because this is very important.
It's a cat coin. We got the cat coin struggling to hold on to the top 100. One of the reasons PopCat is so popular, there is a dog versus cat narrative in the meme coins, and a lot of people are saying, what is going to be the top cat coin? I think it's PopCat, and what's the other one? Is Mog maybe considered? So we do. Oh, okay. I was actually wondering, do they have cat themed tab yet? They actually do have the cat themed tab. Yeah, it's Mog and Pop. I mean, hey, it's good. You're creating a little bit of rivalry, so this will be good for both those projects, probably.
Where's Coinbase's token, actually? Let's see. Mr. Miggles. I don't know if you saw this.
Well, Toshi is one, too.
Mr. Miggles is Coinbase's new meme coin for anybody that doesn't know. Down 27% just a little bit here. So everybody is coming into the meme coin game. This is where you got to realize Coinbase, backed by BlackRock, they launched a meme coin. If you go on 100% fair launch, it is, I've been telling you guys, they're going to use it as branding now. This is going to be like a whole community development, brand development type style now. Coinbase, yes, launched Mr. Miggles, and there is a Mrs. Miggles here.
All right, people talking about someone being Arsenio's girl, Montel Williams. We might have a clip, folks. That's all I'm going to say. Maybe 20 minutes from now, there might be a clip. You got to stick around for that.
We just got to bounce on Bitcoin's price behind DZ here, 67,1111. So back above that $67,000. Let's get to the juice here today, guys. So make sure you hit that like button first and foremost. Let's get up to 300 likes because I'm be telling you guys my favorite RWA plays. It is more important than ever to start finally looking to RWA's real-world assets. We're going to look at, of course, RWA.xyz. DZ, it has jumped. It has jumped massively here off the announcements because, of course, guys, Larry, I gotta digress before I get into the rest of the news here. President Biden announces decision to not seek re-election. Copy of letter. There is a lot of weirdness going on in our markets today. Joe Biden on Twitter. This is a historic moment. Traffic on Twitter. Elon Musk, people trashing on Elon. He's ruining Twitter. Is like they're hitting all-time high users every single day, and it's just increasing more and more because of what's happening over the last few weeks here. Joe Biden has officially stepped down as the presidential nominee, and it turns out he didn't address the nation. Right, the last time I think we saw this was in 1968 with Lyndon B. Johnson. He did a 40-minute speech on why he wasn't running for re-election. Now with Joe Biden, we just got simply a tweet.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought is I'm still looking for a signature to match the signature that is on that letter. I'm not even trying to be funny. There's people actually trying to find a signature that looks like this one. So far, I haven't found one. It to me seems like a soft coup, and that's a strong allegation. So that's why I'm just saying,
allegedly.
It seems like I'm just saying from an outside perspective, it seems like a soft coup. Like he maybe was fatigued or tired at this time, and they push forward some comms. Yeah,
and we do have quite a bit of confirmation on that. We have his brother coming out and saying that he has a terminal sickness that is not terminal. I think he actually just said sickness, but now people are rolling this into something bigger than it is. But saying that he was sick and that's why he can't run for re-election. But to the overall signature,
if he's too sick to run for re-election, he's too sick to sign a resignation letter.
He's also too sick to still remain as president.
There's certain stamps where you have to have a heart stent put in. You sign some paperwork where the VP is this in control for 4 hours, 8 hours. If he were on some meds, they should follow the rule of law. And I don't think that's what this is.
I 100% agree with you. So whether or not chat does, let's see, guys. Type 1 in chat if you think this was a coup or a coup. Type 2 if you think that
is Joe on board or not?
Yeah,
One,
Joe
if
on
he's
board.
Not on board. 2, if he's like, he's orchestrating the entire thing.
Because it turns out he didn't even write this. I don't know if you know that as well.
I haven't seen that. That's confirmed.
Turns out it's been confirmed. The individual that did write this letter for him did it in the late nights. The only person that confirmed that he did write it for him was Jill. Apparently,
not help with writing. They're saying they authored it.
They authored it.
Wow.
They authored it 100%. So here's the same exact timing and impact of Biden's announcement on ActBlue donation today. So this is actually, we got a lot of ones coming through in chat here. This is where also people are now starting to kind of connect dots. They're going, okay, was this a coup? Because of course, Act Blue, a very large Democratic donation group here, lobbying group, right after it was announced, they've been holding back on a lot of these donations. And right after they got confirmation that Biden dropped out, you had Nancy Pelosi, Nancy Mace, a lot of people come out and say, hey, we don't want this. We don't want Biden. Their donations have skyrocketed in the last 24 hours. In fact, they actually outpaced the Stegosaurus that was sold. So 44.6 million. They hit 46.7 million.
Wow. Passing the Stegosaurus.
Passing the Stegosaurus.
That was a Hoffman. Who was that?
I think it was, no, it wasn't. It was, who? That Ken Griffith.
Ken Griffith. Okay.
Griffith. That's
all right. So yeah, we got donations moving up after that. Now, this is just a coincidence, everybody, but he did drop out on National Ice Cream Day. Some are saying it's official. We do live in a simulation based off this.
I think we live in a simulation. Chat, do we live in a simulation? Yes or no? I think we live in a simulation. I am tired. I'm exhausted of living through these historical events.
Bro, what's your favorite kind of ice cream, though? Hold on.
Favorite kind of ice cream?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what I take is the most important thing about that.
Brand-wise, it's hard to go against Ben & Jerry's, even though they're whatever.
Like a Rocky Road Ben & Jerry's or a double brownie.
Core. I like the Core caramel with some brownies. Wow. Good stuff.
Okay. Chat, what's your favorite ice cream? I am the guy that goes with half coffee, half chocolate every single time.
Okay.
I like mixing them.
Drew,
I like mixing
chocolate
them. I get crazy.
cookie dough.
Oh, dude, how'd you know? Why are you doing this?
Some say I have psychic powers.
It's true.
Because he's eating chocolate chip cookie dough. That's pretty
I look in
intense.
his windows at night, y'all.
Whoa. All right. Anyways, moving on here. Polymarket goes wild as Biden drops out of race, endorses Kamala Harris. Can we pull up that chart again that you have of Polymarket? Oh, I have it right here. My bad. It was literally the next tab. But if you want to pull up the one with, of course, who they think the nominee is going to be.
Yeah, I got that right here. Democratic nominee Kamala, 83% right now. So 83.
Is there a chart below that? I'm curious to see if it
No, but we could feed that into something.
Okay, so I have the chart here for at least what the overall market looks like. But this is honestly shocking to me because who pays attention to mainstream media polls anymore? Polymarket's been more accurate than everything out there. With the whole Joe Biden stepping down, the bets there was over $250 million in bets that he wasn't even going to make it here.
Polymarket's better than the chain it's built on.
Yeah, wow. Ooh.
Name
Too
one
soon.
other cool thing happening on Polygon.
I don't know.
Nothing.
This is bringing
They don't even
Polygon
have
to life
Starbucks
right
NFTs anymore. They don't got jack.
Well, as it turns out, the states that are still blue would be Washington, Oregon, California, of course, New York, and then Nevada here, which is actually a swing state, is pivoting, or not Nevada, it's New Mexico. Never mind, I'm wrong. That is a blue state. So there we go. 79% Democrats there for Kamala Harris. But here's the candidates that I was looking at. So Democratic VP nominee Shapiro is who I was actually, focusing on. He might be, because who's going to be vice president, right? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves.
Let's make it Jill Biden.
That would be wild. Let's make it Hunter Biden, actually.
Oh.
But Shapiro,
he'll be up at 2 a.m. You're wondering who's answering the phone? He's up.
He's always up.
He's up.
He's up. In fact, they say he's, we'll digress from making those statements here. But let's move on here, guys. The lettuce has won. So if you guys were curious, there was a Polygon or Polymarket bet here that this lettuce was going to outlast Biden's presidential nominee here. And it turns out in less than 10 days, the lettuce did take the win here. So if you guys betted on lettuce, congratulations. You guys made a ton of money because he has outlasted.
If it was romaine, I would have done it. But, I don't trust that iceberg.
I know, it was a cabbage, bro.
I don't trust any icebergs.
Never. I don't well, there's a lot of people I don't trust. One of those people is
Fed
right
Reserve loves icebergs.
That's so true, DZ.
Can I say that? I could say that, right? I could say that.
A diamond? I like that. That was good. Obama is not endorsing Kamala. He's calling for an open convention. Michelle Obama may be his nominee. So this is where...
I meant sinking the Titanic.
I know exactly where
I thought you were going into De Beers family hoard.
I could have. But no, I was referencing...
There's also those people, too.
Diamond was the... Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan.
Oh, Jamie Dimon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead. I had an extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. Now, honestly, I think if the Democrats really wanted to win, they would actually go with RFK Jr.
Oh, yeah. I'd vote for RFK probably in a heartbeat.
I don't know why this So obviously those aren't their incentives. So what are their incentives? If they don't want to win, okay, who do they want in the position?
They've
of that
signaled
power?
they don't like populist nominees ever since, well, most recently would be Bernie Sanders. They have a history of squashing populist nominees.
Yes, I would agree with that. I don't know if it's can't control them or what it is, but the perspective here is that if you guys didn't know this, the DNC changed 60 rules over this last. So look, if you want to talk about fair, free elections, et cetera, go, that's up to you. But what happened to RFK was very strategic, and they made it where nobody could run against Joe Biden. They changed 60 sets of rules as soon as RFK announced that he was going to run and compete against Joe Biden here. They actually made it where he couldn't even step into New Hampshire at one point. If he were to step into New Hampshire, any delegate he would have, this is a physical rule, would automatically go to Joe Biden. He couldn't even actually head to New Hampshire. Weird laws that were embedded to, of course, kind of guide us to where we're at today. But this is interesting. This is why I don't know if Kamala is going to be the nominee, because the fact that Obama is saying, you know what, I haven't endorsed them yet. I want to see where this is heading. We still have plenty of time to see who actually rolls out.
He could be holding back his political capital for personal gain.
Yeah, that's also true as well. This is what a Kamala Harris capital gain. So let's say, though, is Kamala going to be, the nominee for the Democratic Party? What is her stance on stocks and crypto? This is the only question we have, really. This is why we're covering politics here, guys. Crypto and politics literally combine with one another because it matters about taxes. It matters where we can build.
It's only once every 4 years, folks.
Exactly. So you got another 4 years of us, talking straight crypto here soon. But stocks and crypto, though ignored for most of her tenure, Vice President Kamala Harris was propelled to the limelight when Joe Biden announced he would not be running for his second term and endorsed her as the Democratic Party nominee. This is what a Harris tax policy may look like. Previously, Harris came out in support of an income tax increase from 37 to roughly 40% for the top 1% earners and supported higher capital gains and dividend taxes. She has also pushed for an additional 4% income-based premium for those making more than $100,000 as part of a scheme to fund Medicare for all. I don't like this part because $100,000 today, in my opinion, is like $70,000 pre-pandemic. So It's not like, who remembers? I remember like just 10 years ago, everybody's like, man, all I need to do is make $100,000 a year and I'm set.
I'm old enough to remember, $1,000 a week. Oh man, you're like saving some money when you're getting paid that.
That's insane. That's not even like,
I'm dinosaur dust.
That's like, you got to make that in like 3 days or that's insane. But earlier in 2024, Biden's plans to raise maximum capital gains tax rate to a historical high of 44.6% and even implement an unrealized gains tax for the ultra wealthy, generally reported as individuals whose net worth exceeds $100 million. Now, so for me, really, Kamala, guys, she's just Biden 2.0.
You guys want to hear a horror story?
What's that?
Want to hear a horror story?
Go for it.
I spent $750 at Costco to feed my kids with my mom while I'm out at Nashville for 1 week right now.
Oh my, $750?
$750.
How long is that going to last you?
About a week and a half.
You should have seen how many rotisserie chickens. It was embarrassing.
Bro, that's a lot of rotisserie.
Yeah.
That's a lot of rotisserie. And be badass strength is what we need to drive this bus. I want, all right, I want certain types of presidents from Gary the Lizard here from now on. I demand you cut it out. Or cut it off for your country.
508 visuals, $1,000 a week is still good money unless you have horrible money management skills. If you're in rural Iowa versus San Francisco downtown, huge disparity on $1,000 a week.
Well, in case anybody didn't know, here was this is Kamala's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, hold on. Let me punch it. All right, send it.
Back then, he was the famous one. And
anybody know who this is?
Introduce her to the paparazzi.
Mike Epps does a great impression of him.
Yes. Now everybody knows who Kamala Harris is. So everybody has ties to certain types of individuals.
Oh, you mean Hollywood?
Yes.
You know what? I'll say this. Growing up, seeing a couple Montel Williams shows back in the day, he usually came off as a tough as nails, but heart of gold type of guy. And I would say Montel, I didn't really have any problems with him. Well, it's not like Maury, where he's like, who's the father? He would like get on his knees, and he was known for bringing on a real tough army sergeant who would scare the kids straights in the woods. That was kind of like his.
Can't do that anymore.
His go-to was
can't do that anymore. Can't be scaring kids in the woods.
Laserface. She was no, she was not in the movie. Never mind. No.
We'll move on here. Republican Senate candidates are being encouraged to push for President Biden's resignation now that he has exited the 2024 presidential race. Of course, this is a current outlook at the Democratic Party here, with, of course, Obama.
Plant, I believe. Buddy about to get
Why they got to do him like that?
Why they got to do him like that, guys? Elon Musk goes laser eyes as after Biden quits re-election bid. Elon Musk has gone fully endorsed on Donald Trump's side here. There is rumors he will be attending Bitcoin Nashville this week. There is rumors and sources, close sources of mine, that are saying they actually might be sitting down for even an interview following, sometime the next 7 days. Now, Elon Musk on this side of things has been very, very bullish for the price of Bitcoin, as well as just the overall crypto market conditions. If you guys are on Twitter, you guys kind of see where we're heading with this. But going laser eyes and changing that perspective again, man, I mean, it really doesn't get more pro crypto than this week. This is probably the most historical week we will see in Bitcoin. Not only do we have ETFs launching tomorrow for Ethereum, this is going to be the largest Bitcoin conference, I think, in history. It's going to be really hard to top this again. I mean, we have not only a former president, very possibly the next president speaking, but we also have people like Vivek Ramaswamy, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, and rumored to attend. This is going to be an insane moment this week.
Yeah, I can't wait to just, definitely going to try to. We have the media passes, potential whale. We should definitely be able to get into the room, see Trump speak, give you the breakdown as it's happening. Maybe we can live tweet the event, or I don't even know what kind of situation. I'm guessing metal detectors, maybe standing room only. I don't know if they'll let every attender just show up and walk in the room. Maybe it's going to be time based. Maybe it'll be whether you got a media pass or not. It's going to be interesting to see, but we'll cover it, and it's going to be the probably most sought after speech at any Bitcoin conference ever.
Yeah, especially now that Bitcoin briefly topped $68,000 as Biden dropout riles up crypto bulls. Bitcoin briefly surged above $68,000 less than about 24 hours ago, driven by positive U.S. election predictions before settling around $67,500. It is now back down to $66,764. Of course, behind DZ right there. The broader crypto market, as represented by CoinDesk 20 Index, saw a 1.25% increase. This is just in anticipation that we're going to have very pro-crypto legislative or representatives, of course, running for this presidency. But this goes to show, right, all that FUD we saw in June, all the FUD we saw in May has pretty much been completely eaten up. Everybody that was a bear calling for a bear market again, gone. I can't find them. They are completely gone off Twitter at this point. This morning, Mt. Gox moving funds. Mt. Gox addresses deposited $1 to 4 separate Bitstamp deposit addresses. Bitstamp is one of 5 exchanges working with Mt. Gox trustee to facilitate the creditor repayments. Mt. Gox currently holds $6 billion in Bitcoin. Last month, this would have been looked at as a major fear factor. This would have been looked at as the end of the Bitcoin bull run. But what people realized is that, the markets overall absorb a lot of that type of selling liquidity, that selling pressure that exists. So can this pull us back to $62,000? Maybe if it were to all dump at once. But of course, the Mt. Gox Bitcoin balance is already down from 90,000 Bitcoin to 50,000 less Bitcoin, which is 51,000. Wow. They've already sold off 50,000 Bitcoin.
And even if they send it all out, in 1 second, boom, everybody gets their Bitcoin all at once. I still think all the Mt. Gox recipients will sell more slowly than the Germans did, because the Germans were just like 3 exchanges sell and basically sold all 3 billion. This is going to be, you're going to have some hodlers. You're going to have some, maybe wait till January 1st to sell. Some are going to wait towards the end of the year. Some are going to try to play the 4-year cycle. Some are just going to diamond hand, give to their kids. Yeah. This isn't going to be that crazy of sell pressure is my prediction.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, and these are smarter people than Germany. And these are, again, are Bitcoin OGs. So some of them that are selling off that type of amount, maybe they're even using OTC. We don't necessarily know, but these funds have moved to Kraken and will be distributed to holders soon. The fear around the selling has been overstated for a while, likely adding fuel to the recent decline. I imagine there was plenty of sellers, but not the entire amount that some are fearing. So of course, guys, Mt. Gox not looking to be as negative as people wanted it to be. And this could coincide with a potential $100,000, $150,000 by, of course, the election cycle here. Because if the candidates that are pro-crypto, guys, are gaining more mainstream attention, and you have people like Larry Fink potentially stepping in as a U.S. Treasury Secretary, let's face the facts here, guys. This is Wall Street 2.0. This is the banking system taking advantage of crypto and tokenization because it makes the old system better. This isn't, decentralization, that whole masquerade, that whole buzzword marketing term. I think that's been thrown out the window. And so you have to look at it for what it is. If Larry Fink comes in as a U.S. Treasury Secretary, he's tokenizing all of their funds. you can only, 1 plus 1 equals 2. It doesn't equal, what is it? 1 times 1 equals 2? Is that?
Yeah. Well, yes, Matt. Yeah. What was it? No, Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. No, 1 plus 1 equals 2 here. We'd have a very bullish outcome for, of course, tokenization, Bitcoin being a reserve asset, et cetera, in the future. We have Bitcoin accumulation mega whales holding a highest level in 2 years. Despite the recent corrections, on-chain data indicates that whale addresses have doubled down on the accumulation, pushing their holdings to levels we haven't seen in 2022. Particularly the total Bitcoin supply in addresses holding 1,000 Bitcoin or more has hit a 2-year high. What's behind the surge in whale Bitcoin accumulation? Well, according to Into the Blocks chart data, this accumulation shot up massively in January of 2024, a period when the crypto markets kickstarted a full bullish momentum. After months of waiting, spot Bitcoin ETFs were eventually introduced to the US market, and this was the moment when things started to heat up. Here is an overall perspective on that mark. Accumulation through spot Bitcoin ETFs can be reaffirmed by Glassnode data. According to Glassnode chart below, US spot ETFs have acquired more than 900,000 Bitcoin. Wow. In a span of 7 months. Funds continue to buy up Bitcoin even during corrections. Now, this is incredibly bullish. I mean, almost 1 million Bitcoin in just the span of a few months. You have Ethereum ETFs launching tomorrow with the expectation that 33% of the volume that went into Bitcoin, they're going to see 33% of that type of volume go into Ethereum. So very, very bullish price action for Bitcoin or for Ethereum from institutions.
Yeah. And 900K, this is just going to continue to grow and grow, even though Bitcoin's going to go up, even though Bitcoin's going to go down. When gold is at an all-time high, there's asset managers who just want 1% allocation to gold, 5% allocation to gold. Price is separated because the only thing that matters to them is a percentage of their allocation, a percentage of their portfolio. And I think as Bitcoin matures, it will start entering more and more of those conversations where Bitcoin's price doesn't matter. Just the world's richest people are just going to want 5% exposure to it.
Yeah. And so what does this mean for Bitcoin?
It means it's going to pass gold's market cap.
Pretty much. Whale accumulation has largely been positive for the price of Bitcoin and has led to corresponding price surge. When whales make moves, the rest of the market tends to notice. Their actions can influence smaller investors, potentially leading to a domino effect of increased Bitcoin buying. So, of course, as we approach $70,000, this is incredibly, incredibly bullish. The crowds have gone silent. Can we get some W's in the chat? Or actually, what should we do? W's or L's for the bear?
L.
All right, L's it is, guys. L's in the chat. Type it in the comments if you guys are on Twitter. If you guys are on YouTube, make sure you guys, and of course afterwards, hit L in that comments, guys. But spam L's, break YouTube, because the crowd has gone silent after Bitcoin and crypto have enjoyed a somewhat surprising rebound in the past 2 weeks. L to the bears. L to the bears. Those vocal about an impending bear market in early July have essentially disappeared as Bitcoin has neared $70,000 once again. Yes, guys, L's to all the bears out there. We were arguing with bears back and forth at $53,000 to $60,000. It just goes to show, guys. And let me show you right here, right? FOMO.io. Right? We have the greatest fear and greed index tool out there on the market. If you guys use this dashboard, it is super, super clean. You can see today we are at a 65 greed right now on the current market. If we actually hit bullish, let's see what the FOMO score is here today. Is at 62. Make sure you guys go vote for this. This is going to be a retail score. So this has no institutional interest. This is just all the thousands of users that use this website daily. That is their vote. And of course, this is the actual fear and greed index that you guys are so used to seeing. So very, very clean metric. But on the 24 hour, when we were at 53K, when we were at 55K, this was touching 18, 22.
Yeah.
It was in max fear. And it just goes to show, guys, this market is super simple. Keep it simple, stupid. That is how you got to react to these markets. If you're overreacting and making it complicated and using, all of this astrology to try to determine a non-predictable outcome, you're going to get wrecked. The fear and greed index shows us time and time again, when everybody is fearful, you want to be greedy. When everybody is greedy, you want to be fearful. So I'd be very careful as we break past $70,000. When we start hitting 72, 73, if we get a breakout, if this is past 70, 80 on the greed, that is when you want to tend to take profit. So just, make sure you guys keep that in mind. That is FOMO.io right there. US Bitcoin ETF attracts $2 billion in July, surpasses 900,000 Bitcoin holdings. Billions of dollars are inflowing into these markets. We've seen over 10 billion. In fact, I think we've seen over 15 billion now in terms of Bitcoin volume in these Bitcoin ETFs. They are the most successful financial products to launch. And I always say this, but since Jack Bogle in 1975 with index funds. Gold is even comparable in 2001 in November, but you're looking again, or 2004. This is unprecedented. So the amount of money that's flowing into this, these institutions, they want to access that. You have Vanguard, you have Fidelity, you have BlackRock, you have every single institution is going to want to make money off these fees because they understand that this is where the market is heading. So now, again, it's happening with Ethereum. Alt season could very well be right around the corner.
Speaking of right around the corner, big money, the ETFs, the reason they're putting so much money into these ETFs is boomers, old money, they love a good visual. They love a good bar chart. And this bar chart is about as bullish as you can get. The blue lines is what you're seeing right here are the Bitcoin halving schedules. And it is very typical for us to just, trade sideways, trade within a range before we have our parabolic move to the upside. That's where we're at right now. Imagine being an ETF asset allocator. You're like, oh, wait a minute. So you're explaining this cycle to me and it gets cut in half, the amount that's released every 10 minutes. And this is where we're at right now. And these are the previous cycles. Put me down for $100 million. So yeah, big money. Speaking of big money, Big Tip Shark asking, probably Josh, how much do you spend on your haircut? Me, $0.
Hey,
I'm going to cut my hair Wednesday so I look fresh for Bitcoin Nashville. Just the one, the zero guard. What about you, Josh?
Euro guard. I really need a haircut. It's been quite a bit of time, but I like $50 now, I think.
Okay.
Which has gone up incredibly. I mean, I remember again, pre-pandemic, $25 for a haircut. Now it's like $50, not including tip.
Okay. Like 0.27 Sol.
Yeah. And I don't blame them. I don't blame the barbers. It's just their rents and everything have gone up. So yeah. And unfortunately, points.
Do you break their clippers on your eyebrows?
No,
Is it like C's and smoke and sparks come out?
I actually don't do anything to my eyebrows. They're just naturally perfect. How it is. US Bitcoin ETFs purchased 41,158 Bitcoin so far this month. Incredibly bullish here. Analysts set Bitcoin price roadmap from $66,000 to $90,000 Bitcoin. Guys, give me your Bitcoin price prediction right now here for, of course, this upcoming election. What is Bitcoin going to be by the elections in this November? As Bitcoin looks to reclaim $70,000 resistance level, Linda, a prominent crypto analyst and professional trader, has pointed out technical patterns and fundamental factors that could influence Bitcoin's price trajectory. The analysis identifies the bullish flag pattern as a key indicator for Bitcoin's potential upward movement. Observed on both the daily and weekly charts, this pattern features a sharp upward movement followed by a consolidation phase. Here you go. So, of course, this is incredibly bullish. Let's open this image in a new tab so we can zoom in right here.
I love seeing the liquidity grabs before the big moves too. The little liquidity grabs to the downside, scare everyone out every time.
Well, this is what she is looking at in terms of the bull flag here. So it would be it'd ultimately be a breakout. So let me get the chart out here for you. It'd be a breakout. So I draw. I can't draw, guys. I can't draw anymore. They broke my drawing tool. My drawing stick is now broken. But essentially, you'd have this breakout that would push us to what is this falling? This is an old pattern, actually. No.
That's the parallel channel we've been trading in. So once it breaks out, it'll probably test the top
bull
side
flag
as support,
which would be like $72,000, $70,000, and then break out to 90K. Is essentially her thought process behind this analysis. So breaking the resistance points is essentially for Bitcoin to advance toward higher targets such as $80,000 and $90,000. Bitcoin bulls market progress. I think you just pulled up this chart here. And that is, of course, the halving, correct? So the halving just goes to show that this is historical.
Like I said, some 72-year-old millionaire, has $40 million, and that person's trying to tell me, no, you got to put $4 million into Bitcoin. I don't know. You show them that chart, they're gonna go, oh, okay. It's that easy. It sounds too simplified, but I'm not kidding. People just love good graphics. People, asset managers, everyone loves a good graphic. Buddy.
Well, speaking of good graphics, this is an extremely good one because Bitcoin miners are closing the gap with Bitcoin. Between the launch of Bitcoin ETFs and the halving, miner stocks performed poorly, but things are changing. We're now waiting to see them outperform Bitcoin in the next breakout. Bitcoin mining stocks, if you guys know this, in the previous cycle, Bitcoin miners acted as a leveraged bet on Bitcoin. We believe this is still valid given the small size of miner stocks compared to their potential. So seeing Bitcoin mining stocks come back just goes to show that institutions and TradFi investors are betting on that market condition again. So that is incredibly bullish. What global liquidity tells us about Bitcoin's future. This is another beautiful graphic here. According to 2Prime's global liquidity report, M2 liquidity trends help us understand Bitcoin's price movements, and key contributors to M2 liquidity are US dollar liquidity, the People's Bank of China liquidity, and bond volatility. China has officially cut rates, by the way. Bitcoin and M2 growth global year over year. The two prime reports said that the periods of M2 liquidity growth align with Bitcoin's price increase, while drops in M2 liquidity correlate with price decrease. So all you guys need to know, M2 money is really like when there's money entering the market, okay? When it's dropping, you see this pink drop, this cliff, that's going to coincide with, of course, Bitcoin's price dropping. When money starts entering the markets again, you get a positive price action for Bitcoin. And it's COVID right there. And this goes back and forth time and time and time again.
I pulled up the liquidity cycle right here. This is the global liquidity index, and the dark blue line is where we're at right now. A lot of analysts are saying we're going to follow this this long-term cycle that we've just been following for decades. No reason for it to not continue. And this is basically money printers going on, and this is going to be the top of the bull market, potentially late 2025, which sums up perfectly with the 4-year cycle.
And by the way, if it follows that, I'm going to look like a complete idiot being so conservative. If it follows that, that M2 curve.
Because you're like a Q1 2025 potential top, right? Or even
yeah, and
this
it's not like I'm like, oh, we go into a bear market. It's more like I think elections might be peak, and then you get this massive pullback, and then it just
like a 2014 double top.
I don't. Yeah, well, maybe not even that. Maybe it could be like a triple top. It really just depends on who's elected. It's so important to understand. Okay, well, if Trump doesn't win here, right, this election, and we get a negative crypto market, candidate to take that position, what does that mean for the crypto markets in the United States? And if that starts, messing with, the inflow of capital, entrepreneurs, all those incentives, they're going to, one, leave the US, but two, it's going to really break Bitcoin's price action. But I don't see that happening because, again, you look at what's happening with Larry Fink, with your institutions, with Jamie Dimon. They're all going pro crypto. When you see all these elitists or globalists, you want to say, start adopting these very tokenization tools, Bitcoin, etc. I mean, is that a
no? You're bringing up a good point. There's two different camps right now. We got the Harris camp and we got the Fink camp. Fink pro crypto, Kamala Harris, definitely anti crypto. Who has more power today, Larry Fink or Kamala Harris? I'll ask both of you.
I'm gonna let chat ask. I mean, I think
chat. Who has more power today? Is it Larry Fink or is it Kamala Harris? And I mean today, not January 20. Today, who has more power?
I look at incentives, and I'd have to say Fink for sure. But it's not just Fink. I don't want to label him as like this guy that controls everything. I think he's himself is a part of a much larger group. That's the money, the political incentives have now started aligning with the Republican Party versus the Democrat, which is what they've been with for the last decade. So I think we're seeing that political shift.
Well, chat says Fink. Fink has more money or more power.
I think it's probably because our chat's the smartest chat out there. That is why. But Drew, where do you stand on this? Because for me, this is what I've been saying this for so long, man. It's people, the fundamentals of crypto are completely the underlying ethos of crypto, the libertarian perspective. We need a F you to the government. We need to break away from this globalization effort. This is for the people. It's very ironic that a decade later, the very people we hate are now the very people that are pushing the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're both on their feet, it's definitely Fink. Okay, but Kamala, she's got a chaos factor, especially since Hawk2A went live, bro. I mean, you can't discount the power of Hawk2A. But essentially, Larry Fink, Blackwater, BlackRock, they have had the ability to extend and privatize war, one of the longest wars in the U.S. history. The only reason why Larry Fink has backed off his ESG initiatives and investments is because he got his face slapped by 23 attorney generals across the United States, and since then has been bullish on Bitcoin to find something else to go up and to the right. So as it stands right now, Fink is the strongest one out of the two.
Yeah, right? And you guys got to realize too, because I'm going to jump on that topic here. Like, people are going to be mad at like him being a Treasury Secretary and whatnot. Well, your only option would really be RFK Jr. if you wanted to vote against a system like that. And he's been, he's been speaking up very vocally against what's happening. He's like, look, they're talking about draining the swamp, and the swamp is just these are swamp people that we're seeing be put into these positions. So, like, if you want to go down that route, you can talk about that. But if you want to talk about the outcome of the markets, it's incredibly bullish for Bitcoin. It's incredibly bullish for us. It's not bullish for the people that enter Bitcoin in 4 years from now. They're going to be late to the game. So it's just something I think everybody in the crypto markets, we've been told that we were, talking about scams, that we're conspiracy theorists, that we're crazies. Like, that is what they've labeled crypto over the last decade. And it's very funny, and it's a very beautiful thing to see it, completely turn that wave. And now people are going, oh, wow, there is something here. Bitcoin dominance was stables here, though, in April. When we hit 57%, I said that it could be, I said that, this is broken. I said that could be good enough for 60% because of the ETFs. But this is looking strong, so I think 60% will hit before Q4. Now, back to moving averages.
And Ben Cowan somewhere is rubbing his hands like an evil cartoon villain. Yes. I said Bitcoin dominance would rise.
There is speculation, and speaking of bullishness, there is speculation that Trump may announce the establishment of a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve during the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville.
This is the real path to 150K.
Yes.
So I was asked, by our intern this morning, what is Bitcoin's path to 150K? Is it, something Larry Fink said? Is it something Kamala Harris said? No, the path to 150K Bitcoin is going to be Donald Trump becoming the presumptive winner in January, being sworn in January, and also announcing a strategic Bitcoin asset reserve, similar to how we have with petroleum, similar to how we have with gold and Fort Knox, and then, maybe some sort of plan to just continuously add to it year after year. I could see that creating a scenario where sovereign nations step in and Bitcoin could hit 150K before January, was it 21st, morning ceremony?
January 2021 or 2025, yeah. It'd be his inauguration.
Yeah, I think it's the 21st.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to think about. I mean, if we back US dollar by Bitcoin, we have a strategic reserve. Like that is exactly
I would say remove that language. It's not going to officially be backed by anything. It's not backed by anything but the aircraft carriers. So, I would just say stop saying it's going to be backed by Bitcoin. It's not going to be backed by Bitcoin. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by anything. It won't be backed by anything. But what could happen, we would have a strategic reserve like we have with petroleum.
Yes.
And where, it'd be a public wallet. We would see it. And people were okay with Biden tapping into the National Petroleum Reserve because it lowered our gas prices. I don't think people would be favorable with the government selling the Bitcoin in the Bitcoin National Reserve.
I 100% agree. But to retail's perspective, I think they'll view it the same way they view oil. Right. Oh, we're almost out of oil. Like when we were selling off the strategic reserves, even though we had like another dozen reserves, we actually have more oil than ever at this point. And
there's probably secret reserves.
Exactly. Right. And so I feel like retail, like what would retail think if we create a strategic? Like
to
me, that's 100,000 Bitcoin.
JD Vance is pumping Bitcoin for his VC bros, and it's all some scheme to make Bitcoin expensive. And, they're just trying to grift America.
Well, Danny is trying to grift me by saying, have some bread on the sideline, need to stack more link. Oh, I thought he just was going to make a Wonder Bread joke about myself.
Dude,
so used to that.
Bread is important. My wife has been making me sourdough every day, homemade. Absolutely amazing. You get them making bread at home. It's delicious.
Our 20th super chat here. Wow, Danny, appreciate you, man. Much love here. Have some bread on the sideline. Need to stack more link in Ondo. Do you think this is a good buying price or half in now and half later if pullback happens?
Do you deploy all now or do you do more of a DCA strategy? I'm always just leaning towards DCA is the way. And so I'm always hesitant to just shoot your,
Danny,
to deploy all your capital at once.
All I do is this every single time. Let me ask you, the last time you deployed all your capital at once, did it end up being a good thing? It's like every single time I ask myself that, I go, I could have dollar cost averaged it and had a way better average.
I can predict a bottom and I still don't do it.
Yeah,
I predicted 16.2 was the absolute bottom. 16.7 was the absolute bottom. Ended up being 15.9. I still wasn't like, deploy everything at once.
Yeah,
I got a different take. Full send.
Full send. Woo!
Full send. I mean, I have done it many times and it's gone great. And
I would say Drew's done it well. He did it with Chainlink. He did a very good job. He's done it with a couple coins.
Yeah, I mean, I full sent like the COVID thing happened and I took literally all of my money that I had and bought Bitcoin when it was $4,000 and Ethereum at $180.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even the sells, when you feel like taking a little snapshot of your portfolio and sending it to all your friends.
Well, Drew is Mel Gibson in The Patriot. And so Drew's going to be more comfortable with these high risk maneuvers. Yeah. And so not everyone's going to be as comfortable being that risky.
Well, hey, speaking of taking risks here, Donald Trump has had some controversial takes on El Salvador, comments sparking a now much heated debate in the Bitcoin community here, saying that President Nayib isn't actually as good as a leader as everybody makes him out to be, and that he's been sending essentially all of their criminals to the U.S. Now, what are the actual statistics and logistics behind this? I don't necessarily know. These are all allegations, but he, of course, said he is dumping criminals in the United States. Matt Kaiser came out with a poll here on Twitter. Now, of course, I have to say this first, guys. This is going to be incredibly, biased. When you guys ever take a poll on whether it's my Twitter or my X or Max Kaiser X's, It's going to be based off, of course, who follows you. There's generally going to be biases that exist there. But Max Kaiser, who would you rather see as president of the United States in 2024? Of course, over almost 9,000 votes said that they would rather see Bukele over Trump in the elections. But I don't know how much. I mean, as somebody who's in El Salvador all the time, as somebody who probably has a lot of El Salvadorians that follow him on X.
Let me say this. I'll ask 1,000 Americans, less than 5% will know who Nayib Bukele is.
Even less than that. Less than, what, 2%?
Yeah, so it's just it's a joke.
It's pretty funny
here.
though. It's pretty funny just to see here who is the better president for this country. Just straight up 2 different polls there, and he's just trolling the internet here. Speaking of governments and crypto and blockchain adoption here, we do have Constellation Network here, who is partnered with IBM. They have a United States Space Force representative going to be a judge in their hackathon coming up here. They're redefining Web3 interoperability with layer 0 consensus. A lot of you guys know about DAG. They've been a private chain for a very, very long time. They have gone completely public with, I believe, their mainnet. And this hackathon coming out is going to be massive for the overall ecosystem. They're partnered with the Department of Defense. I know we also have somebody behind the sticks here today, Drew.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on DAG? I mean, I'm very excited that we were able to partner with them and work with them in a very big way. But this is a moment for DAG. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling just same as I did years ago about DAG. And really, I found crypto because I wanted data encryption and I wanted to harden our digital infrastructure in the United States. So I'm always looking for projects that have real utility. The price, I mean, it's not as sexy as all the meme coins by far. It's actually still, I'm buying DAG at these levels because it's been reset. It's back at the level right around 3 cents where I like to stack it at. But I've held and bought DAG for a long time, and I really have, I feel like, as a researcher and someone that wants to do due diligence and bring verifiable partnerships to the public to check out and not just all this moon math stuff, DAG is right up there with Bitcoin for my excitedness and long-term outlook for. And honestly, like, it's very undiscovered right now, and I am excited about that because that means I'm early and people are just now starting to catch up to what the Department of Defense is actually doing to harden our digital infrastructure, because data is truly the new gold. It just will take a while for people to figure it out. So,
well, hey, for those that love Algorand here, they're going to be actually hosting a Twitter space coming up, doing a deep dive into Constellation and the future of course, their tech. This is huge as well for anybody that's a developer in the audience. If you guys want to go check this out, of course, you can apply completely for free. Build your application-specific L1 blockchain and tooling.
55 days left to get your money, everybody.
Exactly.
So you got a little under 2 months. This is pretty interesting. Real quick, I wanted to highlight this. $1.1 trillion is going to be our debt payment. So this is just, the interest payment on our debt. Did a little back of the napkin math. We're looking at roughly $3 billion every single day. And so that's $1 billion every 8 hours.
Thank God Joe Biden got $1 billion from the ultra rich. That's going to really do a lot of help for us.
Yeah, of course.
That's 0.001% of our overall debt, I think. Did I do that math right?
Let me just say $1 billion every 8 hours is totally ridiculous. Think of a U.S. corporation that is worth $1 billion. That's like eliminating one every 8 hours.
Guys, what's $1 billion between friends? Okay, a day.
If it's Larry Fink and friends, not much. Just a fraction for me. Oh, it'd be a whole lot.
It is pushing entrepreneurship and investments outside the U.S. That is all that does. That's all. But no, man, we need to tax the rich.
I saw the global debt surpassed $300 trillion this morning. So.
Did it really? Dude, let me go to the debt clock here. Chat, you've probably seen this here. This is the funniest thing to me, because since it's at $34 trillion now, almost $35 trillion, we'll probably break it today. Huge W's in chat. Happy birthday to the U.S. national debt here. 35. It's turning 35 today. Absolutely beautiful. But I wouldn't be surprised if this number can go to 100 trillion.
Check out the interest on debt right there with the little warning symbol next to it. Nearly, what is that? $1 trillion just in interest on our debt.
Well, that's what they're coming up with, 1.3.
Yeah, so we'll be at 1.3, I think, in, when is it? There's a timeline for it.
That's what projected for this year.
So by the end of the year, we'll be 1.3. So yeah. So shout out to, again, those who want to brag about taxing the rich and getting $1 billion. That is either just going to go to Ukraine, Israel, or maybe now Iran. That does absolutely nothing for our economy. So shout out to that.
Hey, there's also high-speed rails in California it's going to go to, okay?
Actually, we need $18 billion for that. So how big is the high-speed rail? High speed rail Cali, Gavin Newsom. Let's see how big this is, right? So this was $18 billion. We got about not even 500 yards. That 500 yards, so we could afford.
The firm that they hired to build that over 10 years wasn't able to build anything due to all the red tape. They went to Africa and built one in 18 months.
Okay, well, so where did the $18 billion go?
Gavin Newsom's wineries.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom's wineries. I love that one. So we could get 25 feet of high-speed rail in California with that $1 billion. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. 7 U.S. states challenge SEC's crypto regulations, and Iowa led amicus brief here. Led by Iowa Attorney General Brenna Bird, the states have filed an amicus brief arguing that the SEC's attempt to regulate cryptocurrencies constitutes a power grab that would stifle innovation, harm the crypto industry, and exceed the agency's authority.
You guys ready to feel bullish? I'm ready to feel bullish. The white line is the People's Bank of China basically turning on the money printing right here. This is their balance sheet, the white line. When the white line starts to move to the upside, we typically get a very nice bump for Bitcoin. Now, right here, we did it basically, kind of kept it chugging along for a little bit. It gave us that second top right there. They turned it on right there at the bottom, turn it on right there at the bottom. Did they turn it on at the bottom yet again?
I would say yes. I would say definitely
bullish
so.
for Bitcoin.
Very. This is incredibly bullish. Everything is bullish on Bitcoin. How are you not bullish on Bitcoin? I don't understand that. How are people not bullish on Bitcoin? Give me one bearish reason in the chat right now.
Because
I'm gonna wait.
They misread charts. They misread what's going on around them, and they missed the boat. So now they wanted to come back to save them.
It's Vivek Ramaswamy put it, because it's someone that predicted the entire outcome of this election. But just follow the incentives. The incentives are Bitcoin. The incentives are tokenization. It's not by doubling down on the US dollar and old systems. 9 to 5 is what you're able to use for your banking system 5 days a week, and you can't even pull out 10K, right? We need that liquidity. We need this access to global markets. What
that's sick. Well, funny. The white line is, no, it's in the bathroom on top of the toilet porcelain. No, that's the White House bathroom. Thinking of.
Oh, it's Hunter Biden's apartment.
We still don't know who it belonged to. Yeah.
This is bullish as well. SE Chair Gary Gensler will likely resign in the first 2 months of 2025 if Trump is elected as president. So if you don't like Gary Gensler,
Gary, the youngest vice president in Goldman Sachs history, might be on his way out. I wonder if he'll land on his feet, y'all.
Well, happy birthday to Ethereum here. Let's hopefully Gary Gensler gets thrown out of the facilities here. Ethereum is 10 years old today.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Turned 10 today. That is, it's just getting to the range where Drake is going to start buying it.
Oh my God, easy. What has happened?
Are we still live on air? It says guidelines breached. Is that demonetized? SIBO unveils the official launch date for 5 spot Ethereum ETFs. 5 is too young though. SIBO's new listing page shows that Ethereum's ETFs from issuers 21 Shares, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, Invesco, and Vanik are scheduled to roll out on Tuesday. The multiple ETFs releasing tomorrow, of course, with Ethereum now in a Wyckoff accumulation update. This is something that very potentially could play out where we get price action up to about $4,200 Ethereum before a retracement back down to like $3,800, and ultimately a very, very strong breakout to new all-time highs. Give me your Ethereum price predictions for, of course, let's say the end of July. Let's say the end of this month. What's your Ethereum price prediction? I think with the announcement of these ETFs, we can actually see a $4,000 Ethereum by the end of this month. I think it's very
in July, it's going to go high.
Ooh, you're liking that one. That one's good. Just like when you buy DAG, you gag. Is that what Pat said here? Ethereum's burn rate slumped 67% in Q2. Q2 2024 hosts Ethereum's highest quarterly. Inflation rate since the network's transition to proof of stake. This is just honestly bullish. We have a lot of Ethereum being burnt, supply being taken off exchanges. We have more adoption and demand coming in. Who's not bullish on Ethereum?
It's like, hey, we're upgrading ETH. It's going to be so bullish. It's called the merge, and it's going to reduce gas fees. We're like, we love it. And then we're like, but now ETH is more inflationary. Like, do we still love it? I don't know if we still love it.
Do we?
I want that deflationary
that
ETH. Bring back that deflationary ETH.
I agree. Well, the only major real-world companies, get this, doing something meaningful in crypto are Coinbase, Circle, and BlackRock. These 3 companies have strategic relationships with each other, and they all focus on Ethereum. I have to completely disagree with this entire statement. I don't know what Adriano is saying. Doing only meaningful. Goldman Sachs launching 3 different tokenization plays. JP Morgan is in bed just as much with crypto at this point. Yes, BlackRock is going to be the one that's behind the ETFs, but you have a Fidelity, you have
Polymarket.
That's it?
Polymarket's doing
Vanek?
something real.
No.
You got real. I'm blanking on the name right now. I've used them at least twice. There's a NFT ticketing platform that all the major crypto events use. Reducing fake Super Bowl tickets, Taylor Swift tickets. That's a good thing. Yeah, we don't want people getting ripped off on Facebook
But
Marketplace.
You also have MicroStrategy. Like, you're just going to ignore these things. So I don't know. Good engagement tweet here, but I disagree. I think there's been meaningful companies for a long. I would say Coinbase, BlackRock, and Circle though are like that elitist group. It's like that is the USDC is our central bank digital currency. I don't think we're going to get a CBDC in the United States. I think they're going to regulate the hell out of on-ramps and off-ramps, and almost everybody in the US or on US markets are going to be utilizing USDC or Tether, and it's going to force us. People are very scared of crypto. Guys, you realize how bullish this is for the US dollar? Tether is buying more US treasuries than your biggest GDP governments around the world. There's going to be a point where it has 500 billion in USD or in US treasuries. There's going to be a point where USDC has hundreds of billions in US treasuries. So it doesn't matter that Japan's selling off or Germany's selling off. You have these massive corporations buying US treasuries, and now BlackRock's not only going to profit off the treasuries, they're not only going to profit off, Circle or Coinbase stock, they're going to profit off the USDC stablecoin reserves that they're managing.
Yeah, and they're going to profit off shorting CrowdStrike, as someone just said.
Man, dude, DZ's on the anti-monetization route today. BlackRock shorted. Oh, you read that there from
KJAM.
I can't see that bottom.
Someone asking, are we going to Karate Combat? Is that going to be at Bitcoin Nashville?
If it's there, we'll probably be there. But
maybe,
if
I see Mario, I'll go up and say hey.
My focus is one thing and one thing only.
Yeah.
It's
What's that?
tokenization. Yes. How did you know? Ondo! Who holds Ondo in the chats? People keep fading it. But tokenization equals Ethereum. Larry Fink, President Trump's potential Treasury Secretary, understands the entire world will live on Ethereum in one day. Study the Larry Fink supply sync lessons here. Here's a 33-second clip.
All right, let me pull this down.
Ready for this?
Yep.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we could customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets.
Yeah, that is enough said there. And that's why, again, we see now tokenized treasuries at 1.9 billion today.
You know what I'm seeing between the lines here? We can make money in the stock market 24/7 versus just, that 9:45 to 4:30 period. And I know there's a little bit of aftermarkets activity, pre-markets activity. They want truly 7 days a week, 24 hours, monetization, fee accrual.
Yeah,
Let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
The staking Ethereum ETFs.
Yeah.
I have, it looks like we're going to get the regular ETF here, but
yes, but they are open to changing the language.
Right. And, I'm looking at I was talking to one of our hedge fund manager buddies on a Twitter space, and he was thinking that the staking version would become available like September, November, just later on in the year. Do you think that gives Ethereum fuel to outperform the Bitcoin ETF potentially? Because not only are Grayscale fees for their Ethereum trust higher than the Bitcoin trust was and is currently, but you also have the potential for staking access for these massive fund managers. Do you think that'll affect the velocity?
In a 12-month timeline, yes. In a 10-year timeline, no. That would be my take there.
One more time.
Can ETH outpace Bitcoin ETFs due to the attractiveness of inflows from the staking?
I'd have to agree with you. I think there's so many different infrastructure plays. My focus would be, I don't know, like I think there's a possibility, but also no. Like, how are you gonna, if we have a strategic reserve of Bitcoin? No.
Yeah, digital gold is just it's too compelling a narrative. As good as like, hey, it's kind of like having a dividend on your stock. That sounds great and all, but 21 million
with
21 million only.
Can it be like a Google in terms of market cap? I think so. I think as an infrastructure play, it can definitely see that in 10 years. I would say that much. I would say my focus right now is just going to be, like, if you guys go on rwa.xyz, what I'd be focusing on is the 3 coming soon tabs. You have private equity here. Private equity is going to be a massive part of this. There's going to be huge gains in that division, as well as the real estate market. And in fact, actually, guys, what are we at right now? We have, I'm going to see it right now. We have about almost 700 people watching, guys. If we hit 300 likes on this video right now, I'm going to give you a little hidden gem. It's going to be a hidden gem. The microcap, going to be some riskiness, but it's going to be a project that I know will pop up in the private equity spot right here. So you guys definitely want to use this website just to track the upcoming tokenized plays. I'll give you guys that here.
Let me do a quick thing on this altcoin real quick. Polygon sees renewed real-world asset interest become second to Ethereum. I would say the number one thing working for Polygon right now, more and more people are going to add Polygon to their MetaMask, load it with Polygon, go to Polymarket, and start using it. That's what's going to be needed for Polygon to pick up this RWA narrative. Because what ends up happening is like, oh, all these cool things are happening on this ETH L2. Like, all right, let me open up my MetaMask. Oh, I got a bridge to the chain. I'm out. But people are getting excited about Polymarket, so I can see people actually using this.
And you guys got just a few minutes to hit this likes, guys. There's again, it's about 700 of you watching, guys. 250 likes. We're only 50 likes away, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you guys just swipe out, hit that like button real quick, and I'll give you guys that little hidden gem secret here. Really quick though, quick shout out to Houdini Swap. They have officially launched Duke, if you guys didn't know. So you guys can actually use Solana to buy Duke now. You can literally just connect to Houdini Swap here from any MetaMask or your, of course, Coinbase wallet out there. And you can actually just go to Houdini Swap there and click on Solana, transfer to Duke if you'd like. But you can also transfer from XRP to Solana, or from Solana to XRP, or from Link to BNB. You can transfer any chain to any other chain at the swap of a button. Makes it completely simple and free and for you guys to use here. They also have a really cool privacy function here with over 4,000 tokens across all chains. So very, very cool, guys. They've done over almost $600 million in volume. And shout out to them again here for partnering with Duke there, guys. You can check out the link below. Solana hit $1,000, potentially a potential pattern breakout, hence 900% rally. Can Solana hit $1,000 this cycle? According to Ali Martinez, Solana might be eyeing $1,000 price mark given a bullish pattern formation in his recent tweet here. Here would be that ascending triangle. There's a bull pennant, sorry about that, suggesting a 900% rally to that $1,000 range.
I got boomerized. Is that log chart or regular chart on the right?
This is, it's regular chart. I think he's
I do think it is possible. I don't think it's likely, but I mean, the indicators are there. You know, continuing to see it have green days when Bitcoin's having a red day makes me more and more bullish Solana long term. Yeah. But the only thing that's making me hesitant is how quickly and sharply it pulled back from $200 recently.
Is Houdini better than MetaMask? It's actually just a decentralized application, brother, built on top of it.
Folks,
so your point here is, because I didn't want to skip over your thought there. I don't know if we're too conservative. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we've been through multiple cycles at this point, and I am very conservative because I just like having that strategy, having that risk management strategy. But if I saw a breakout here and we saw, let's say, $3 trillion enter the crypto ecosystem, I wouldn't be shocked if I saw exponential price increases that I wasn't expecting, in the bear market.
There is big money that wants Solana to go up. There's a lot of Solana that is yet to be sold. And so I could see market makers who have Solana that's locked up till 2029, 2028. They might have a vested interest in creating a $1,000 price narrative this cycle. So the next cycle, it'd be even crazier price narrative, like maybe ETH in 2021. Oh, it's going to 4,000 this time. I want to give a big shout out to everybody who watched that Cardano video. We give a big shout out to 3 altcoin plays, and the altcoins did pretty well, everybody. I just refreshed. Looks like it fell down about 2 spots, but SNCC, one of the best gainers against Cardano. That was our sneaky meme play. And then we also had a DeFi play. Meld is also one of the biggest gainers against Cardano. And so even though Cardano, I don't know if it's green or red, you're gaining against ADA, and that's the name of the game, folks. So if you watch that ADA video, congrats, everyone. We jumped in at a good time.
Yeah, it's a great time. And meme coins look like they're pumping back. Iggy is up over 100%. But the project I want to show you guys here, okay? We're about to hit that 300 like mark. So I'm going to give it to you guys here. This is a private equity play. Again, it's high risk. And I don't even have this project yet. I'm not related to this project in any single way. But it is in a video we're going to be dropping here soon on the channel. It might be already.
Are you dropping alpha? You giving a sneak peek here?
I'm giving a sneak peek. This is one of the sneak peek picks of the tokenization plays out here. And the entire reason is this has been around for a couple of years at this point. It's performed pretty decently. It's performed pretty decently, actually. If you go,
we don't have the API for market cap. That sucks.
Man, that's so lame. We need that market cap live price there. But either way, been some pretty decent consolidation over the last 3 months. Did very, very well during the bull market. But guys, this looks like a high market cap token. It's not. This is something that's sitting at a 75 million fully diluted valuation. But again, if we go to let me go to the live chart here. It should pop up on Gecko Terminal.
I got a glare on the screen. What's the coin called here?
$102 million market cap. It is called Rilio, R-I-O, Rio here. And the reason why I'm showing you guys this is if you go to their website, okay, this is going to be in the video. I do a full breakdown for you guys. But this is a private equity play. It's one of the first private equity plays out there for real-world assets. And again, I do believe it will be on the private equity tab when this does roll out, because I've been watching this with you, DZ, since the beginning of time.
So you're going to give us the dealio on Relio.
The dealio on Relio, and we're going to Celio that portfolio.
And Filio that like button on the way out, folks.
Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later tonight.